Yes. There we go. Man, it was hidden inside the firewall behind 57 layers of click this, click that. I finally found where it is. Crazy. Don't accidentally click block and then that window just disappears and then you go, oh shit. Hey, Captain Boss, Asuki Zealin, Jacob Mobley, from what I remember, before I had to reset the stream. Yeah! It's time to go to the barber soon, I think. A little bit. Okay, first topic, first come, first serve. Go! I won't have time, otherwise. First come, first serve topic. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Butler of Infestation. Alright, there we go. Topic 1 by Atsuki. Butler? Isn't it with 2 T's? Or Butler? Butler? Has to be with double T's, right? Of Infestation. Zealin, yeah, you've been asking for that topic quite for some time now. It's always been thrown out there. Okay, Butler of Infestation, Butler of Infestation. Butler, yeah, it's from the butt energy robot exosuit, right? Hey, Tony, how's it going? So Butler of Infestation, Butler. Instantly, what I saw was like, you know, a servant of an infestation. So he kind of. Okay, let's go color. You're gonna hear my daughter. She's not in an accepting mood today. Right, so I'm gonna go color or light only first, and then I will try to add as much color as I can. Let's say 10 minutes of lights only, right, to kind of get the idea down, and then the following 20 minutes or following 10 minutes smash colors in there, and then 10 minutes of trying to adjust. Hello Rib, how's it going? Say art, what is up? Captain Bob's, maybe you didn't see, but I think I was talking about old designs and, you know, or showing my sketchbooks, and in one of the sketchbooks I had drawn and then I had painted in Photoshop exoskeleton suit that used the human body as energy source, and one of the ways of energy was a tube up the butt for the biofuel, you know. Hey Giri, how's it going? And it was for I think it was for Dominance War. There was a old art competition called Dominance War, which was at that time, I don't know if it's still, but at that time it was forum against forum, or platform against platform. So like, oh, are you CG Hub, or are you CG Society, or are you Polycount, and you would like fight for that camp, and it would be camp against camp, and who won, you know, like who's the which platform is the strongest. And I actually did for the website, I actually did CG Hub's backdrop. let's see if I can quickly find it. Yeah, there we go. Well, actually, let's do it like that. Now that I've set up beautiful features, okay. This was the CG Hub backdrop. Maybe I should experiment a bit. So as you can see, it was like the CG Hub logo, and on the top and the bottom was the website. It was pretty good fun. It's called a shocker. Yeah, you could say it's a variant of the shocker. But this was many years ago, you know. It was good fun. So the idea of the topic, servant of infestation, no, butler of infestation. Butler is a servant, right? I mean, you could have gone like a man in tuxedo route, but I decided I'd go in a different direction. So it's more like Quasimodo, and so it's more butler in terms of servant. And he carries the infestation. The infestation being, let's say, the hive entity. So the hive entity has taken over the body, you know, so he carries the nest, and the nest uses him as a butler, you know, do this, do that, go here. So it's like a servant, right? And the entity, the swarm, the infestation is a part of the body, and he's forced to do their bidding, you know, the hive entity. That's what kind of where my mind went, where the idea is going, right? The alien, yeah. So the question is, should he have? Maybe he has like an all messed up face, like there's no need for eating, there's no need for normal biological function, because the hive is powering it, right? It's taken over. It's a symbiosis, not symbiosis, but more of a parasitical nature of. So maybe he's been trying to eat, but the face is just deteriorating because the infestation has changed his biological makeup, and can no longer eat. And whenever you're eating, you're destroying the body. So in theory, you want to stop. You know, you have to give in to the infestation, but the infestation or the body itself wants to survive. You know, the drive is so strong, so it keeps eating, but the infestation keeps ruining the body. A bit dark, but let's go with that direction. Hey Zach, how's it going? Jacob. Sorry. Okay, so I said two more. I'd say 2 more minutes, and then I'll start smashing colors in here. not so smart to like go on a website and start talking about other stuff than to paint when I have a tight schedule. But it is what it is, right? What's life if not a challenge? Like probably some more legs there, so it's kind of doesn't float like a massive meatball in an odd way. Something like that. Oh yeah, and some interesting news. I did not win the golden ticket. Rip me. So for those who don't know, the golden ticket is a free vacation, more or less, everything paid, to a workshop in Malta. And this year, I mean, I won last year. I had no illusions that I would win again, and that it would even allow me to win again. But I had to try, right? And hey, Bruno Romanos, welcome back. Nice to see you here. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't win. Okay, so I want the infestation to be visible. I want it to feel a little bit alien. So I don't want to go zombie green. How about it if the infestation itself is, I mean, opposite to the tone of the light, so it's blue. So maybe we can have it kind of blue. And maybe I'll try to make it a little bit crystal-like, perhaps. I mean, if I would have won, it would have been like, what? They allowed me to win again? I mean, in a competition that's all based on like public and inclusion, I mean, I knew they wouldn't allow me to win again because I won last year. And how come, I mean, the same guy can't win over and over, clearly. I mean, if I was realistic, I had no illusion that I would, that I would win. Thanks, Bruno. Jacob Mobley, Zerg colors. Oh, maybe a little bit. I don't really have a memory of Zerg. They're orange, I know. Yeah, there were some really great entries. I mean, the winner was obviously. It's not like I'm like salty that someone else won and I should have won. I think the winner definitely deserved great entry, great all around great entries. It was fun to try. Personally, I wasn't super satisfied with the painting. My painting. I found it lacking a little bit. I mean, I think it was a good attempt at narrative, but it's something in there in that painting that I wasn't keen on. But nevertheless, I finished and I tried. Jacob Mobley, yeah, exactly. Bruno Romanos, because I won last year, and the whole idea of the competition is to kind of unify the tribes, unify the people, be inclusive of all kinds. And it would be weird if they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're a golden boy. Here, you win again." Of course, they want to introduce a new person to the competition. They want to introduce a new face instead of saying, "Oh, here, the winner again." And here's it makes sense, from a kind of contest point of view of where they want to market, and they don't want to just market the same person winning the second year. So I mean, it's okay. I get it, but I had to try. And to be fair, if you look at like the statistics for the threads, my thread for the competition was the like all-time high. It was, no one else was in the, like the neighborhood of my numbers. At least when I checked the last. Maybe at the very end they swarmed and boosted their numbers, but so in a way I was looking at those statistics and I was like, I gotta. I mean, if I wouldn't have won, I probably would have landed at least some prize. Zielin, yeah, exactly. But again, it's probably because I won last year. At least the reason why I didn't win or get mentioned or be placed, at least, because looking at the other entries, I mean, I could have easily gone there, but who knows? I don't hold anything against it. I'm not salty or anything. It was just, good try. Next year, I'll try again. I think I will not stop trying. At the moment, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just painting and talking. I have no inner picture of where I should go, no idea of what it should look like, nothing. I'm just kind of moving my hand and reading the chat, which is a great way to sketch, right? If you want to have something in the end, this is the best way to do it. And yeah, exactly, Zielin. 8K versus maybe like 200. It is a significant difference in traffic to those, to my entries versus the other entries, which makes you think a bit, at least. But nevertheless, yeah, the other just got a prize. I got exposure. I mean, exposure is the way to go, right? That's at least what everyone keeps telling me. I'll draw for them and I'll get exposure. Lately I've been playing around with masks and things like this, and I set it to luminosity, and I paint on the mask to help push shadows and volumes. I started playing around with it on the dark fantasy entries or the series, because I jumped straight to paint, kind of. And what I found, like playing with correction layers and painting in the mask to adjust the light, one thing that's nice is that you get the brush mark, but you don't repaint the previous marks, right? You get the brush marks of what you're painting in the mask, but you also maintain the kind of complexity that you already build up. And I remember that's a technique that speed painters use a lot, or the classic type of speed painter, at least, not modern day. But they used to do that. They used to use certain layer modes only, and they would build the texture up and complexity up by kind of layering, like I'm doing on the shadow, right? You can still see the underlying marks, but you kind of add complexity on top. And I find that really, really cool. And and it's a smart way of doing it, and they always use layer modes and things like that to kind of keep the texture that's there. And what a friend of mine would also do, he would make like selections like this, you know, so you have a selection, hide it, and then paint in the selection only. You know, which is it's a pretty cool technique to do. And then if you vary it with a layer setting, that you maintain the underlying brush marks, you can create a really fast kind of nice complexity to stuff. I find that's one of my biggest problems as a digital painter, where I don't really have that problem in real life, but digitally I tend to paint over a lot of lines, like a lot of textures. And when I paint traditionally, I look for those textures and kind of maintain them, or paint on top of a texture because I like the texture but not the color. So you can wash on top to get the texture of the paint if you paint with thick color, and it's dried. So that's kind of, you know, these layer modes and ways of doing or using them is a never-ending exploration, at least in my book. And that's one of the things I love about art, is process is only, like, your process can change completely, but you can still create something. And that's the fascinating part, that there is no horizon. It's a never-ending horizon. It just keeps moving. As you get better, you get closer, but the closer you get, the further it goes. You know, you can keep on exploring. Act of creating. Jacob Mobley, yeah, Jamie Jones and Lynn Run, they are very good, and I've looked at their texture stuff a lot, and they use their marks in an extremely efficient way, and also John Park, I believe, if I remember the name correctly, that it's him, but I think it's John Park as well. He also is very, like, efficient. And that's something I've always enjoyed. And that's something, for example, which I touched on already, that one of my mistakes is that I keep going over marks and I don't maintain them. And that's something that has always bugged me. And one of the reasons why it's bugged me is because I'm, you know, like, self-taught, and I haven't been taught a proper process. It's all like a reverse engineering masterclass in how do everyone else do it who's been trained in proper management, you know, of marks and so on. Like, I have zero theory in how one should approach it, to, you know, in an academic kind of way. All I know is how I do it really well, you know. And John Park, for example, he has this just two marks, boom boom, and then the whole shape is there, and you go, shit, that's efficient. One thing though, what I always remember is, like, let's say a beautiful study like John Park and so on, is that they look at photos a lot, obviously, especially as it studies. And that's always easy to be expressive when all you need to think about is mark making rather than creating something new that doesn't exist. But nevertheless, he would have, due to his ability, let's take John Park as an example, due to John Park's ability to paint something with ease that looks so good when he has reference, will increase his ability to paint something with ease that's made up. But the complexity of something that you haven't seen before is hard to describe in a mark, because when you observe something that exists, you can simplify it and express it in a way where everyone understands it, you know. So that's something I always struggled with, in terms of my approach to paint, because I know that a lot of stuff I explore, you can't really find reference for in a like specifically like Butler of Infestation, right? This meatball of hive mind, right? Or hive. Then you would have multiple elements that you would have to source from, and then you would have to solidify the idea, and then you would have to do a study, and then you would have to plan your painting, and then all these things, right? And that's all good. That's all how it works and so on. But a lot of the process in my creative process is that I'm making it up as I go, and solidifying the picture as I'm building it, right? So naturally there's going to be a lot of retakes, a lot of overpaintings, a lot of going back to the drawing board as I'm moving forward, which is, you know, can be a little bit counterproductive at times. But there is a problem there, because John Park is in these kind of studies, for example, or Jamie Jones, he is an illustrator way more than a concept artist. But nevertheless, he paints concept art. Let's, in this instance, Jamie Jones, right? He paints mood painting. He doesn't necessarily design the characters per se. Maybe he has a bunch of concepts and he comes up with something new based on those concepts. That might also be the case in a lot of times. But nevertheless, he does it with such ease and beauty that the marks themselves tells the story and is engaging and inviting, and people want to know more about the world due to the fact that how he describes like the tone of the world, right? Well, thank you very much, Jacob. Who watched Bobby Chu's stream yesterday about Lightbox Expo? Was anyone there? Jacob Mobley, Wes versus Bjorn. Oh yeah, I worked with Wes on the same projects multiple times over my career. And it's always like, damn, he's so good. And I see his updates and I go, damn, all right, I gotta deliver. He always keeps me on my toes. I would love to go up one head versus head. What's it called? Head versus head? No. Head to head. I'd love to go head to head with him, against him, in some art competition. That would make me actually sweat a bit. Right, so yesterday Bobby Chu talked about Lightbox Expo, and and he kind of went through the whole list. Now I don't remember why I brought up Lightbox Expo. There was a comment to be made there. John Park, Jamie Jones, concepting. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, so like I said, Bobby Chu talked about Lightbox Expo, and he mentioned something. What will happen there is concept art awards, the first ever official concept art awards. It's pretty cool. Fascinating to see who is going to be in there. But to be honest, I doubt that the real concept artists will be nominated. Because looking at Lightbox Expo in general, I'm not shitting on them here, mind you, but they're very illustration orientated. So I am assuming a lot of the concept art awards nominees will be very illustration heavy concept artists, which is fair. You know, they are also concept artists, but the day-to-day business of a concept artist is not illustration. But then you can argue this for days. Was a concept artist? Am I just being a Puritan? Hey, Darko Brush, what's up? So I'm looking forward to see that, what the result of that is, the official concept art awards, to celebrate the concept art part of the industry, which is like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm all for that. Let's see where that goes. You know, I'm no. But like I said, my suspicion is that it's going to be very illustration heavy concept art nominations. But then again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what the everyday business is of a concept artist in general. But I'm already like shitting on it. I have no idea what's going to happen, so don't listen to me. Jacob Mobley, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't blame them for their attempt is to make the biggest, most popular one. So obviously they need to. They can't be like specialist, right? They gotta be all inclusive and put all the eggs in the baskets that draws the most people. And a lot of that is you lower the specifics and you increase the most impact for the buck, you know, and that's illustration. So that's you know, I'm not surprised. And I mean, in terms of popularity, I think they'll do great. And I think as creators of the, let's say, the brand Lightbox Expo, I think they will be doing good. I think smart to have it in America. I think all these things, but it's also very American and loud, loud. But they got to do those kind of stuff, and if they play their cards right, they can create something that lasts, draws a big crowd, you know. And then you gotta have big names, and the names that are people of things that they know, you know, like Marvel. Oh hey, I know Marvel, I've seen Avengers, you know. I think they gotta go that route. and it can't be like, hey, this is this technical hitman from this studio, and everyone go like, what studio? It's not on this cinema. Oh, you gotta be a bit more. Let's raid. Let's raid Evan. He's doing some pretty cool faces, and he's a cool guy. So as per usual, I'm gonna do the outro, and after the outro, take you to the raid. So don't go anywhere. Have a fantastic night. Good night, Jacob. Have a great day. Thanks for the topic. I didn't write your name. Was Zealin? Butler of Infestation. Have a good one. Thanks for coming. Let's raid and outro first. Tools.